start recording right there, and we are online. We will be in the 10th chapter of Revelation today. This may be a short lesson because I looked and chapter 11 we start talking about the two witnesses, and that's a big thing, and I don't want to split it up. So I'm gonna and chapter 10 is kind of short, so I'm gonna I'm gonna go over and hit to the end of chapter 10. Then we're gonna stop, whether we're at the end of the time or not. So we may be a little short tonight, but that'll be okay. Do we have any questions from last week? Any
Um,
questions? Yes. Okay. Um, so I want to keep I want to keep the big picture in our mind, and I, I I was looking through to kind of give the overview here, and I don't know whether you guys do this or not. I have an old cheap Bible that I keep all my notes in, um, and so it makes it easy for me to look and see what's going on. This is a real good thing to do. Buy you a I have see I have my church Bible here if I have to go anywhere important, and it doesn't have any writing in it at all. It's nice and clean, and and doesn't have any nicks. And that's my church Bible. But I have my work Bible here, and it's beat up and it's got string hanging off of it. But I keep all my notes in there, and it really helps when I'm having to deal with something. I can look down and find things real quick. So if you don't do that, I've found it's a good habit, and you can find these Bibles with extra space. They're called journaling Bibles. You can find them on Amazon. This one wasn't too expensive. I think it's maybe $30, but it's also kind of old, so it may be a little more expensive now. But I find it a good habit. I didn't used to do that, but I found it really helpful, especially when I started teaching, to keep most of my notes. I do have a few notes on the side here in a regular notebook, but most I mostly I teach out of the Bible with my notes on the side, and it really helps when I need to find something in a hurry. So you might want to try that. See if you can find you a not very expensive journaling Bible and just start marking it up. This is my second one. I've got an old one here. This is the first one I had. This thing is older than most of my children, but I marked this one up. No, not as much. This is when I first started, but I switched over to this one because I switched Bible versions too. So what I wanted to do tonight, keep in mind what we're looking at here. This is we have opened the scroll now, and we have at the Lamb, our Messiah, was judged righteous enough to be able to open this scroll that we had, that the Ancient of Days had. And this scroll, best guess, but this scroll looks like this is the same scroll that Daniel produced when Daniel was shown the end times. So, and Daniel was told to seal that scroll up until the time. And the time was when someone was worthy enough to open that scroll. And that's what John was so important, thought was so important, is someone was finally judged to open the scroll. So we began to open the scroll, and after each seal, there was a horse. The four horsemen of the apocalypse were released first, and then we opened the seal, and we had some calamities come upon us as we opened the sixth seal. And then when we came to the seventh seal, or just before the seventh seal, I've been watching. I've been watching as we go through this description, this scene that John is looking, and never forget that John is standing there and looking at this stuff before him, and he's writing it down. So what we're seeing is what John is looking at that's actively going on in front of him. So always remember that. Sometimes we get into the thing like we're watching a movie on television, but this what John is seeing is something that's before him, right here in the heavenly council. And remember, we're in the heavenly council. We're in God's courtroom now, and we have the divine council before us. All the hosts of heaven are here with us, including the throne guardians, the 24 elders. We've got a lot of people around, um, but I want us to think, in addition to the heavenly beings, what have we seen so far in the way of people? We haven't seen a whole lot of people, have we? In chapter 7, if you look in your Bibles, if you've got it open there, and this is why I say you got your notes here, you can see it. We've got a group of people that we stumbled on in chapter 7. And these, if we read carefully here, these people are on the earth. So these people now, John is seeing from heaven down to earth. He's seeing these people here, and these are people from the different tribes of Israel, the 144,000 that are sealed, because remember, uh, the four angels said, "Do not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until we have sealed the servants of our God on the forehead." And I heard the number of the sealed, 144,000. That's in chapter 7. So these are not only from the tribes of Israel, but um, they are Jews that have realized that Jesus is the Messiah. So they have seen their Messiah and have accepted him as Messiah. And there's 144,000, 12,000 from each tribe. Few tribes left out. Tribes are in a different order. We talked about that. And then right after that, we see another multitude of people. Remember, we've got a, a countless multitude of the heavenly host, of the angelic beings. We've got countless of them here, but I'm looking for people. And so far, all we've seen is that 144,000 Jews that are on the earth, and they look to still be alive. That we're not told any different. So these people are alive during this tumult that's going on now. But now in chapter 7, after this I looked and beheld a great multitude that no one could number, from every nation, all tribes, people, and languages, standing before the throne, before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and with palm branches. So these are people that have passed on. These are people that have died and have been taken up to heaven. And this is a great multitude. This is a great multitude that can't be counted. And they are up there in heaven, and they cry out in a loud voice, "Salvation belongs to our Lord who sits on the throne and to the Lamb." And all the angels are standing around the throne, and all the elders and the four creatures, and they fell on their face, and they're all praising God now. They're all praising God. And in this great tumult that's now going on with this great multitude of unnumbered, John asked the angel that's beside him, that's been sort of his guide. Well, no, it's the other way around. The angel asked John, "Who are these people?" And of course, John John doesn't know, and he says, "But you know." And the angel answers him back, these are the ones that are coming out of the great tribulation. They have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. And then they go on with another doxology, or a quote from Isaiah. Um, so these are the people that have died in the great tribulation, and they're up in heaven now. So we've got two sets of people, one on the earth and one great multitude in heaven. But going on from here, I'm not seeing a lot of people mentioned. Have any of you noticed any people that are mentioned other than the ones that are the 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 Jews from the tribes, and then this this is the only people that I have seen mentioned. We've seen angels coming back and forth, but that's it. That's all the people that we've seen mentioned yet. And that struck me this week. That struck me. So that's all we have on stage right now. Chapter 8, we go on to open the seal. And I know I'm repeating myself, but it's important for us to remember what's going on here. In chapter 8, we open the seventh seal, and there was that great silence in heaven. We're thinking, we're thinking, and by we, I mean that's my proposal, and nobody said anything, so we're going to go with it, that this is a collective gasp from all of these multitude that we're dealing with, the heavenly host, the multitude of people. All the people in the council have stopped everything for a moment of silence. And our reasoning, there are five major points that people have proposed, and all of them are good. But the one that made most sense to me was the fact that this is the seventh seal has been opened. We can now see the scroll of what is to be, and everybody in the heavenly host, the throne guardians, are so awestruck that God is planning to undo creation. That seems to be what has brought everything to a screeching halt. That God is preparing to undo the creation. So we go on with the after the seventh seal. Now the angel calls forth uh, seven angels and hands them shofars, trumpets, ram's horns, and because yes, the Hebrews had metal trumpets, but they were mostly ceremonial trumpets. We're not in a ceremony now. We're in war. And when the Hebrews went to war, they carried with them ram's horns. The Hebrew word for a trumpet, a ram's horn trumpet, is a shofar. So we're seeing now these seven angels blowing these seven trumpets. And this is when things start getting demonic, shall we say. We go through the seven trumpets. So the first trumpet, hail and fire mixed with blood. Second trumpet, a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. A third of the sea came to a boil. Great star. The third trumpet, a great star from heaven, turned the water into wormwood, bitter water. The fourth trumpet blew. The fourth angel blew his trumpet. A third of the sun was struck. There's darkness. After the fourth trumpet, these first four trumpets look awfully like the different plagues that we've seen at various times in the Bible, especially those first four. They look awful like those plagues that were inflicted on Egypt. The fourth one, the fourth trumpet, is almost directly from Joel, the second chapter of Joel. After the fourth trumpet, there's a pause. when a great eagle came and says, "Woe, woe, woe to those who dwell on the earth," at the blast of the other trumpets that the three angels are about to blow. So we thought it was bad up until now, but this eagle announces a pause here and basically says the worst is yet to come in the last three trumpets. So we looked at the fifth trumpet last week in chapter 9, and this is when we see an angel come down from heaven, and they were given a key to the abyss. The angel, there's a lot of controversy about the angel that came down. This in chapter 9, the first verse, the fifth angel blew his trumpet, saw a star fallen from heaven to the earth, and he was given a key to the shaft of the bottomless pit. So the fifth angel blew his trumpet, and John saw a star come down from heaven. That's, obviously an angel. And the angel was given a key to the shaft of the bottomless pit. Whether this is a good angel or bad angel, there's a lot of argument back and forth. I don't know. I kind of, if I had to flip a coin and guess, I'm not sure that it's one of the fallen angels. I think it may be one of the higher ranked angels, but I mean that's a flip of a coin. I could be persuaded either way. I just kind of have a feeling that it was a good angel simply because he was given the key to the bottomless pit that Jesus inherited in chapter 1. Remember, Jesus was given the keys to death and Hades early in the book in Revelation. And I don't think that after being given the keys to death and Hades back, Jesus is going to hand it back to a fallen angel. But there are arguments that could have happened. So like I said, I don't know. This one is 50-50 to me. This angel opened the bottomless pit and released hell. He opened the shaft to the bottomless pit, and we have demonics everywhere. Um, they come out, and remember, John is looking at this, and the best he can describe this evil that's coming out of the bottomless pit is it's like locusts. It's like there's so many of them. They're swarming. They're like locusts, and that's the best he can describe of what they were. They're demons. They're demonics. So they come out. They come out, and they are and even further confusion. They were allowed. It says in verse 8 they were allowed to torment people, and remember they don't kill you; they just sting. And it's scorpion sting. I don't know where anybody is stung by a scorpion. That's one thing that I have not been stung by, but they say it's bad. It stings worse than a hornet, which, goodness gracious, I can't even imagine it. But people can't die. And it's just torment. But they are allowed to torment them for 5 months. And remember, we mentioned the locust swarm, the locust season in Israel is 5 months. So this is further driving the description of these as demonic locusts. So we go on with this first woe, which is horrid because people are tortured and they can't even die. And then we are introduced to the basically the head guy of this bottomless pit. He's introduced in verse 11. They have a king over them, they the locusts, They have a king over them, the angel of the bottomless pit. His name is in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon. So this is one of the angels that was condemned to the bottomless pit after God um, punished the the fallen angels that uh, came down to Hermon, Mount Hermon in Genesis 6. This is not a biblical description. It comes from some of the extra biblical histories, that the description of what happened to these angels that transgressed their proper station when they came down. The histories say that they were imprisoned in the bottomless pit, and a lot of them was named. And guess what? One of the names, Apollyon, was in those histories. So um, these angels were imprisoned, but now they've been released, and that is one of the things that we know from those early histories, that these angels were to be imprisoned for a while, but then they were released for a while. So we have an evil angel now who is one of the higher ranking fallen angels called Abaddon. That's the first woe. And verse 12 says the first woe is past. Beyond, behold, two woes are still to come. And these are going to be, each one of them is going to be worse. So we finish up with the sixth angel that blows his trumpet. The voice comes from the altar, from the horns of the altar, and the voice says, "Release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." So at this point, we're getting a lot of these angels that were imprisoned back in Genesis 6. Some of them were just thrown down, but some of the worst ones were imprisoned. So we are now, as God begins undoing creation, he is releasing these angels as he said he would. So we are releasing, the voice says, "Release the four angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates." Now, some of you might have heard there's something odd happening with the Euphrates River.
You're sitting on Molly Wallet's too.
There's something odd happening at the Euphrates River. It's starting to
It's
dry
drying
up.
up.
Yeah, it's starting to dry up. And there's not, I mean, yeah, that's a desert. There's not a whole lot of rain, but there's not really a good reason why it should be drying up. The rain hasn't been that delayed. So something odd is going on there with the Euphrates River, and this is right here something that we should be looking for. Remember, this stuff is our signs that John is seeing, and he's relaying to us to let us know that God is beginning the work of undoing the creation. These are we are in the latter days. And I think we're in the latter days. So we see that, and we start seeing news about the Euphrates River drying up. You got to think, is this coming? Is this one of the signs that we should be? Are the trumpets being blown? I you know, I don't know. I don't know. But we got to be watchful. So this angel releases the four angels that are bound at the river Euphrates, four angels who have been prepared for the hour, the day, the month, and the year, released to kill a third of mankind. The number of mounted troops is twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard that number. And this is how I saw the horses in my vision. And he describes the horses as best he can. These are not normal horses.
Hey
It's a
Norm,
yes.
was it was it those four angels? Was it only those four angels that had relations with human women in Genesis 6?
Probably not. They were four of them, but there appear to be a lot more. And if you read the accounts in the extra biblical writings, there are a lot more.
Yeah.
There were a lot more. So yeah, this but these were four of them. These were four of them.
But I thought it was giants.
The giants are the offspring.
Oh,
The
you're
the
right.
the angels came down, and the children from that illicit mixture, and we know in and Leviticus teaches us about illicit mixtures. You're not supposed to mix certain things. This is one of them. Heavenlies and earthlies do not mix. But the children of those offspring are the ones that are called mighty men or giants.
Right.
And we'll get to that story a little later on. But yeah, we'll catch up with that. So now it's really it's come apart. It has come apart. Now these angels are just there. There's well, you look. John sees these things that are coming with these angels, and these are not. We look at the first woe. They were obviously small things because he calls them locusts. But these coming out with these four angels, this is how I saw the horses in my vision and those who rode on them. So these angels are coming with an army. They are coming with an army, and the army is in the millions. So these are armored horses, as best John can describe them. I've seen descriptions of them that he's actually seeing tanks or armored vehicles, and I, maybe, but I don't. I tend to think that what John is seeing is something like a horse. I don't know. He may be looking at the Chinese coming down in armored vehicles, uh, but I tend to think, well, he's writing that he sees armored horses. That's the best I can see. So um, by these and it goes on, horses like lions' heads, fire and smoke, sulfur came out of their mouths, and they killed a third of people. So the 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 troubles that we read about in Revelation, the tribulation is started. It started. And chapter 10 talks about another sort of pause. But in chapter 9, this is a sad verse here. And I think it might have been Kim that brought it out last week as we finished up. The rest of the mankind who were not killed by these plagues did not repent of the works of their hands, nor give up worshiping demons or idols of gold and silver and bronze and stone and wood, which cannot see or hear or walk. Nor did they repent of their murders or their sorceries or their sexual immorality of That's a sad verse. One of the reasons that God is bringing these tribulations on, and I think God may have taken his people out at this point, because this is no longer just tribulation um, and troubles brought upon people by other people. This is
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Cain. He looked God dead in the face
yep,
and still sinned against him.
right, right.
chose his way.
But
And
I
Book of
think,
Judges, they said every man did that which was right in his own
and
eyes.
this is exactly what's going on here. But
Right.
this is these tribulations that are brought. I think we are into the wrath of God now, and beyond just men acting bad. The first part of this, chapter 5, 6 ish, 7, was the same tribulation that we've seen before. The Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, just being horrible people. But this that we're into now, as these woes come upon us, this is something different. And I don't think that the wrath of God is meant to be poured out on his people. Yes, persecution, yes, tribulation, but wrath of God, I don't think is meant to be poured out on his people. So I think somewhere in chapter 8, 9, somewhere in there, I think God may have removed his people. That's why I've been looking for people here, and now we're finding them again. Here we go. Here's some more people. The rest of mankind, who were not killed in these plagues. So now we're seeing people again, and these are people on earth who were not killed. They didn't turn. But this wrath of God, you see how long it goes on. We're halfway through. This is even God's mercy being shown even in this releasing demons. Because I think this is just like God was giving Pharaoh a chance to turn from idolatry. God gave Pharaoh in Egypt a chance to turn, and he almost made it. He almost saw. He gave Nebuchadnezzar, back when we were looking at Daniel, he gave Nebuchadnezzar a chance. He put Nebuchadnezzar on the throne. He put Nebuchadnezzar on the throne. And Nebuchadnezzar almost saw him. Almost. The same thing is happening here. God is trying through this horrific time to still bring people to him. And I think that's what we're seeing here. There are still, like Jeff says, there are still people that are going to sit and look God straight in the face and say, no thanks. But I think a little later on in these chapters, I think we're going to see people begin to turn to him. It's kind of too late. You're in the middle of it. But to see God through his wrath and then turn to him and admit that you brought this on yourself and call upon his name for salvation, God is not going to look away from that person. So I think what we're seeing here is God testing what's left of humanity to try and turn them to him before it's really too late, before they really do get killed by one of these things. So look upon this now as,
I think that's what this all is. The incremental judgments. I think
yes,
that's all it is each time trying to drive them to him.
right. God could have ended it with a snap of his fingers, burn,
Exactly.
gone. But you look, it's being as Jeff said, it's incremental, trying to rescue as many as he can. Okay, we got a few more minutes. I'm going to get through chapter 10. A mighty angel chapter 10, 1. I saw another mighty angel coming from heaven, wrapped in a cloud and a rainbow over his head, and his face was like the sun, and his legs like pillars of fire. And he had a little scroll in his hand. And he set his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land, and called out in a loud voice like a lion roaring. When he called out, 7 thunders sounded. And when the thunders had sounded, I was to write I was about to write, but I heard a voice from 7 saying, seal up the 7 thunders, what they have said, and do not write it down. And the angel who I saw standing on the sea and on the land raised his right hand to heaven and swore by him who lives forever and ever, who created heaven and what is in it, and the earth and what is in it, and the sea and what is in it, and that there would be no more delay. But in that day, in that in that but that in the days of the trumpet call to be sounded by the 7th angel, the mysteries of God will be fulfilled, just as he announced to his servants and prophets. So the angel is drawing a line right here, and he's saying, this is, here it comes. Here it comes, just like the angels and reminded us the woes that are coming are going to be bad. The angel is doing the same thing. This is the fulfillment of prophecy that he's saying. And then the voice I heard from heaven spoke to me again, saying, go and take the scroll that is open in the hand of the angel who is standing on the earth, on the sea and on the land. So I went to the angel and told him to give me the little scroll, and he said to me, take it and eat it. It will make your stomach bitter, but in your mouth it will be sweet as honey. And I took the little scroll from the hand of the angel, and I ate it, and it was sweet as honey in my mouth. But when I had eaten it, my stomach was made bitter. And I was told, you must again prophesy about many peoples and nations and languages and kings. We've heard this same thing before. Second chapter of the Ezekiel, same thing happened to Ezekiel. He was told to eat the words of God. Second chapter of Ezekiel. You can go read that. We're about to run out of time. Second chapter of Ezekiel, the exact same thing happened to Ezekiel when he was to prophesy to Israel about their disobedience and their turning to idols. Guess what we just read about these people? They did not give up worshiping demons and idols of gold and silver. God's doing the same thing, giving them a prophet, John, to turn from this. The sweetness in his mouth, the sweetness of Ezekiel in Ezekiel's mouth were the words of God, the words that were written on the scroll, and the bitterness in his stomach was the prophecy of judgment coming on Israel for Ezekiel and everybody for John. So we're seeing prophecy being fulfilled right here. Ezekiel was the warm-up. Ezekiel was the prophecy to tell Israel to turn back. Now God's doing the same thing. Hey guys, remember that Ezekiel thing? This is the last one. This is it. Because the angel just told them, this is it. The mysteries of God will be fulfilled. So, chapter 10, we're getting a very strong line in the sand written here, and we're still waiting.
I have a thought, though.
Go.
I wonder when we will know what the 7 thunders said.
I've thought of that several times.
Because we're seeing what was revealed to Daniel.
Yep.
And the judgment. So, what is this with the 7 thunders that are not revealed until a later time?
Right. And I
That's
want
good.
us to keep that in mind. We've been looking here for things in Daniel that were Daniel was told to seal them up and wait for a later time. We're seeing them.
I got something for you.
Yeah.
It might jump in the gun, but I've been kind of waiting to ask it, but I thought maybe it might be a good time to
Go
put
ahead.
it here. I had this thought the other day, and I told Jeff about it. But you know how the Lord says that when he forgives us of our sins, he throws it into the midst of the sea. Do you think that could be the reason why he does away with the sea? There's not going to be any more sea.
Yes, the the sea from Genesis 1 has always been a picture for us of chaos. People have always been afraid of going out to sea because it just kind of, I mean, you've stood on the beaches, you've looked, you see forever, and there's nothing there. The sea has always been a picture of chaos. Remember in Genesis 1, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Uh-huh.
That that the deep is the word for one of the words for sea, to home. To home is the word for the turbulent sea, the chaotic sea. So yes, Kim, that's one of the reasons that the seas are treated badly is because they are a picture to us of the chaos that God put together, that God brought to order in the beginning. But
I didn't know if I was the only one that thought that way. It's just a thought come across my mind. Just
yeah, no, you are exactly right there. The sea has always been a picture of chaos. It's always been a picture of chaos. People go on the sea. The fishermen go on the sea. But you always need to keep in your mind that's the picture of chaos because we're kind of helpless on the sea.
uh,
We're kind of helpless on the sea. And that should always be a good picture of just the chaos that can envelop us if we don't be careful.
but thank you for answering that.
Oh, you're quite welcome. We've got less than a minute now. If you have any questions, write them down. We will start with chapter 11 next week and the two witnesses. We've got two more people to deal with. All right. So,
Have a good week, everybody.
yep.
Thank you.
God
Have a
bless
good week,
everybody.
guys. We will see
We
you
love
back
y'all.
here
Guys.
next Thursday.